What did you see from Blade being able to kind of push through some struggles and get y'all to the middle of the game?
Yeah, I mean, now that it's over with, progress, for sure. I think when you're in the heat of the moment and you're knowing who he is, I think kind of recognize a problem that maybe he's had too in us is you're not going to just roll into this thing and start dominating people. Ask their guy, and that's with all due respect. Both guys should pitch in the big leagues, in my opinion, for quite some time. But neither one of them, you're not just going to roll through an SEC lineup. And to be honest with you, it could be a lineup from any team, because if we're to play, Blade started against Tennessee Tech out at Smokies, they're as geared up as anybody to see that guy. So there's a little extra incentive. So we're not looking for domination, and we're not looking for strikeouts. And I think at times he's been guilty of that, and we have too. But progress and a long, hard conversation in that dugout. He's at 85 pitches, a season high. We are looking to get 5 innings tonight. Which way do we go with it? And I think some of the moves we've made, whether they're right or wrong, stem from the confidence we have in the other guys that are down there, and also just kind of that strange feeling after some weekends where some of those guys don't get used, or you got a guy that throws 10 pitches and you think he's one of your best guys. So if anything, I think progress to build off of, and certainly should be fresh going into next weekend.
What makes Jarrell so effective? Seems like he's really good with 2 strikes and very comfortable in that situation.
Just passion for the game in general, and I think 2 strikes is an opportunity to be passionate about the team you play for. In the big leagues, my dad gets frustrated all the time. They strike out too much. You get paid. You'll trade 20 strikeouts for 1 home run because they're going to write a check for it, and fans are going to come out and see it, and it may win you the game too, because there are so many strikeouts in the big leagues. So not that it's a completely different game, but I think with our deal here, you've got to have a heightened sense of unselfishness, and he's got a strong passion for the game and for the guys in the locker room, and I think it kind of shows. And I think you were just talking with Luke Lipsy, it's the same thing. Like, you're not going to meet a more selfless guy. So you see a lot of adjusting there, and if you look at his walks and strikeouts, because he's gotten in those situations sometimes, it's a huge number. And Seth Stevenson used to see take huge hacks with 2 strikes, and now he's kind of doing the exact same thing and realizes he's a quick guy if he puts the ball on the ground. So that's a team thing for sure. And if you look at some of the World Series championships, there was like 3 or 4 in a row with the Giants, the Royals, where the team that won the MLB World Series, so again, speaking on it, it's still baseball, those teams were the best teams in the league, or second or third best with 2 strikes, or not striking out. The Astros are one of those too, but.
Do you feel like you've settled on the 2 and the 6 hole? I know you kind of flip-flopped there for a while, but it seems like with Luke, he did on base before the guys behind him, and then Jarrell being able to maybe drive in that Gilbert Lipscomb. Do you feel like you kind of settled on
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it till you brought it up, and to me, it always is a little more comforting as a player to come to the park and be like, okay, this is my role. But I also like the fact that, with this particular team, it's been a different flavor. You could come to the park and show up and you have an opportunity to play, or you might get inserted into a role that you haven't done, or it might be a little fresh feeling of, now I'm in this spot or that spot. So it certainly makes sense because of the on-base and the RBI thing, but I think both guys have similar qualities of ability to drive the ball out of the park, have really competitive at-bats. So sometimes it just kind of comes down to what we're thinking on that particular day.
I feel like with Cannon out there, that y'all just kind of had to keep grinding early and just kind of keep trying to win maybe if not the battle, win the war just by making him get out there and pitch game.
Well, he threw against McIlvain, and for whatever reason, our games matched up to where I saw a little bit of that, and the announcers at some point said this is almost a series in reverse. What they meant was it was game 2, but these are 2 Friday guys going at it, and tonight was like that too. Last year they were younger, so it was game 3, but tonight you got a deal where both guys, you're going to have to win the war of attrition. And I think what we were able to do later in the game stemmed from what we were able to do earlier in the game. We didn't make it easy for him. I would like to think he would agree for that. And you let a big train like that get rolling, you may not slow it down. So I think it was important for us to get out of some jams, like we talked about Tidwell making some progress, to get out of some jams on the defensive end, and then on the offensive end, have production. Maybe not on the scoreboard, but have production that led later to scoreboard production.
would you say this was one of your most complete productions, on the offensive side, kind of most recently?
Yeah, I think with the arms we saw, I mean, there's guys they haven't used yet too, that are pretty good. So I think if you throw in the combination of the quality of the opponent, which, again, we always talk about in the SEC, you're not going to get a day off. But in particular, a really good staff. And two, we win yesterday. Maybe our guys come out a little complacent. They come out hungry, which they did. We get hit with their first punch in the first inning. There's a lot of things that listed off as one, at the end of the year. I think right now you don't want to get caught smelling any roses, but you got to like the complete effort on offense tonight.
From your vantage point, has anyone been as effective as Camden has for y'all the past month?
No, I mean, he was the MVP of the Tuesday night game, and certainly was a crucial part of tonight. But, Kirby's throwing the ball as well as anybody on our team. Again, I think Blade is making progress. It's nice to have Doe back. I think Burnsy's learned a lifelong or a book full of lessons being dropped in all the situations he has at this point. And, Tidwell had to do it last year. That day 3, yeah, you get to watch the other team hit twice, and so does Frank or the other pitching and all this stuff. But look at all the day 3s he's been thrown into, for Beamer. So I think there's a lot of guys on our staff that it's going well for, and maybe a couple guys too that need to calm down and stay true to their roots and get back out there and just do that. But I think there's a lot of positives with the staff, and I appreciate Sewell. They call him Bones because he's basically a bag of bones out there. I say that jokingly, but that frame of his has shouldered a lot of weight, and I'm glad that he's on our team because I'm the one that's responsible for putting a lot of it there, and he handles it like a champ. That was a compliment in a weird way, for the record. Good. It's been a long night.
Y'all clinched at least a share of the SEC tonight. What does that mean to do it with 4 games left, and how do you approach taking it outright at this point?
Yeah, I think, at the end of the 30 games, you want to be there's about 5 or 6 little, I wouldn't call them climbing a mountain, but there's 5 or 6 little things you'd like to check. And if you can somehow get to, co or outright, you've checked almost all of them. Just the outright thing would be a little bit of a separating factor. So for everything all the teams are trying to do in our league, that means just because of what you said tonight, we've checked a lot of boxes to this point. But I think our guys, a lot of laughing and whatnot after a win. It's normal to be happy, but I think the box our guys need to check tomorrow is showing up on a Sunday in the cream uniforms and competing in front of our fans, because the number, you brought that up, someone else did to me, but the number someone brought up right away I like better is we won each series here for the first time since there's 5 series. And I say we as in Vol Nation, because our fans came back from the rain. They were here every series this year. Last year they weren't allowed to be, so maybe we would have won all those series, although that wouldn't have worked. You can ask a couple of the other teams that beat us. But anyway, I'm really proud of that, because I think they're doing it, and we're thankful they are, but I also think it was a group effort. Our kids played hard, so they wanted to come watch them, and there's personalities on our team, so it's been a fun group effort for Vol Nation.
Pitching plan tomorrow?
I hadn't seen Frank. He literally was the first guy at the buffet, which is BS. That is not a compliment.
It's late.
Yeah.
Thanks, Coach. There you go.